Hello my lovelies, welcome back to a brand new episode of KinnPorsche Reactions. Today I am recapping the third and fourth episode of KinnPorsche. I have divided this video into three parts. The first part is the episode 3 recap, the second part is the episode 4 recap, and the third part is the spoilers for episode 5. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, majority of you may think that the biggest highlight of this episode for me was the highly awaited first kiss between Kinn and Porsche. But let me tell you, that kiss was not the biggest highlight for me. No sir. The biggest highlight for me is this scene. Yes, shameless and pervert, I know. I'm all of that. I can't believe this guy has stolen Kinn and Porsche's spotlight. But right here is what I wanted to see and I got to see it. This guy is smoking hot, and let me tell you, the directors know what they are doing. They know what we like and they are serving it on a platter to us. And also, let's collectively slap Porsche for not letting Paul remove his pants in this scene. I mean, what does he have against us? Does he want to keep all the fangirls to himself? Please Porsche, let the guy have his moment. It's all jokes guys. Anyway, let's start with the real recap now. Porsche is now working as a bodyguard for Kinn's elder brother Tana-kun. Porsche and Tana-kun together are hilarious and crazy. Tana-kun, Porsche, Arm and Paul are watching Con together when Kinn comes in. He's shocked to see that his innocent big brother is watching Con. But what sent me in this scene was Tana-kun asking Kinn if he had seen anything that gigantic before. Porsche is bored out of his mind watching Tana-kun see one series after another. So he forces Tana-kun to go to Jade's bar and party with him. Surprisingly, Tana-kun has the time of his life at the bar and comes home completely wasted. It's around midnight and Kinn asks Porsche to drop home his mail company. This is the first time that Porsche sees this side of Kinn. It was clear to Porsche in this moment that Marsh was not just a platonic friend of Kinn's, he was something more. Working for Tana-kun, Porsche quickly realizes that Pete was right. Kinn is the most sensible person in this house and working for Tana-kun is much harder than expected. Ultimately, the grass is not always greener on the other side. It's fun to enjoy one game of Jenga or enjoy one series, but it becomes torture when you have to do all those things on repeat. Porsche's inner martial art fighter wakes up and he starts focusing more on his bodyguard training and doing better than some of the other bodyguards. Porsche hears that Kinn and his bodyguards are going to collect debt at one of their workers' house. Here Porsche sees for the first time what Kinn's work really involves. He is reminded of his own situation and how cruelly his uncle was treated by one of the creditors his uncle took money from. Porsche felt guilty because the job he was doing was the exact same job other people did when they came to his house to collect money from his family. He was always at the receiving end of this cruelty, so he couldn't believe that he was the one being cruel to other people now. When the worker picks up the gun and aims at Kinn, Porsche tries to reason with him to drop his gun because he didn't want anything to happen to the guy. But I think that Kinn had an inkling that something bad was going to happen, so he immediately shielded Porsche from the attack. I feel like subconsciously Kinn has already become very protective of Porsche, and I doubt Kinn would have proactively saved someone other than Porsche. In this moment, Kinn sees the horrified look on Porsche's face and that look keeps bothering him for the rest of the day. Kinn is concerned for Porsche and feels bad for him. Kinn knows that he himself has hardened and become immune to death and destruction around him, but Porsche has no idea how this world works. A small part of him doesn't want Porsche to get tainted by all this malice around him. But he's the one who brought Porsche into his world, so he pretty much has no control over whatever hardships and cruelty Porsche will witness in his life working with Kinn. Kinn suddenly feels a prick of guilt in his heart and gets an overwhelming urge to see Porsche. Kinn goes to see Porsche, who is applying medication to his wound. He sees that Porsche is having a hard time with it and offers to help. Porsche and Kinn share a look here, which I think is a look that makes it apparent to the two of them that there is something weird going on between them. Something more than just an employer-employee relationship. I think Porsche is subconsciously attracted to Kinn, but since he's straight, he never thought that someone like Kinn could make his heart race. Kin, on the other hand, is trying to suppress his feeling for Porsche because obviously it won't be appropriate for them to have any other relationship besides boss and bodyguard. Also, Kin is an emotionally unavailable person. He can't give his heart to anyone because of past trauma, and he doesn't want Porsche to get hurt. That's why he keeps suppressing his feeling for Porsche. In the next clip, we catch a glimpse of the youngest brother Kim. From the scene, it looks like Kim is extremely smart because he has already figured out that Big has a one-sided love going on for Kin. And I feel like Kim doesn't trust Big and he thinks he could be potentially harmful to the family. I'm excited for the Kim reveal in the next episode. For the first time, we see Kin letting his hair down and enjoying himself fully, thanks to Porsche for bringing out this side of him. I enjoyed every single bit of the party segment. We also get a glimpse of Time's cheating habits as he taps Porsche's friend Tem's shoulder gently, indicating an interest in him. They party until dawn and everyone is blacked out after a night of drinking. Porsche is feeling rather courageous and brings out Kin with him to the deck. It's a saying that a drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts. Porsche becomes vulnerable in front of Kin and admits that he has been feeling guilty about killing that man earlier during that day. He also thanks Kin for saving his life today and also when he was cornered by the second family. Kin asks him at this moment, "When was the last time you were this happy?" Porsche replied with, "Seconds ago." I think this is what draws Kin towards Porsche. He has a bright and positive personality, which is completely opposite to Kin's dark personality. Even during hardships, Porsche finds ways to make him happy and excited, whereas Kin always feels the weight of his responsibilities on his shoulder and has never been truly happy. Porsche is very touchy-feely with Kin here, which I guess is making Kin bolder to take the next step. He finds the drunk Porsche very lovable and then their kiss happens. I like that the kiss was not overly passionate or seductive. It was natural and casual, which I always wanted their first kiss to be. However, Porsche is really drunk in this scene, so kissing him at this moment definitely was not the gentlemanly thing to do. However, as the story progresses, you will find that this novel and show is similar to Than type in a way that it is extremely toxic and problematic. So if we want to enjoy this show to the fullest, I suggest we just look at it as a piece of fiction and a product of a wild Fujoshi imagination. So we were all excited to see the aftermath of the kiss that Kin and Porsche shared on the deck last night. Porsche woke up dreaming of the kiss and seems to have no recollection of what happened last night. Kin, on the other hand, is unable to get the kiss out of his head, and strange feelings have already started erupting in Kin's heart. Now this is the first time we see Vegas interacting with Kin. Vegas has a great sense of observation and is an empath, which many psychopaths usually are. So he already knows that Porsche and Kin do not have a normal master-bodyguard relationship. Vegas catches Porsche having a light in the gardens and engages him in a friendly chat. Kin sees them talking and feels a pang of jealousy in his heart. Kin calls for Porsche and takes the chance to bring up the kiss last night. Porsche seems to have no recollection of the kiss, which disappoints Kin and makes him sad. Porsche, Paul and Am bring a terribly hungover Khun to the spa where Porsche takes the chance to try the steam room. As he was relaxing in the hot steam room looking all oily and sexy, Kin suddenly walks in, startling him. The hotness level of the steam room rises even further, making Porsche all dizzy and weak, looking at hot and half-naked Kin in front of him. To make matters worse, Kin raises the temperature of the steam room, which ultimately makes Porsche pass out on the most comfy-looking place in the world. Porsche wakes up from his untimely nap and finds himself in a fancy Japanese restaurant. Delicious shabu shabu is being cooked right in front of him, and he's also very hungry after the steam room. But as soon as he starts to dig in, Vegas enters the room. I literally screamed when Vegas patted Pete's shoulder. That interaction was so full of tension. Poor baby Pete has no idea what's lurking around the corner for him. Also, Vegas's hand on Pete's shoulder was so heavy that Pete's entire body was shaking in that instance. As soon as Kin saw Vegas dining with Porsche and the bodyguards, he came in and sat in the room. There was an eerie tension in the room and everyone was anxious as to what might transpire in the room. Now Vegas, the sexy psycho, has the audacity to ask Kin to hand over Porsche to him. Not only that, he takes a dig at Kin by asking if he's afraid of getting his heart broken again. Fortunately, Kun comes in at the right time to give a rightful smack to the sexy psycho. Not gonna lie, although I did find that scene funny, my toxic heart hurt a little seeing Vegas get smacked by Kun. I mean, he did the right thing, but I have a soft spot for Vegas. What shall I do? Then comes this hilarious scene where Porsche witnesses Kin getting his milkshake made by Marsh. Porsche is known as being quite homophobic at the beginning of the novel, so I'm glad that the makers took a different route and did not show Porsche as homophobic. His reaction to finding out that Kin is gay was a pleasant surprise. Then we see Kim and Che's first interaction, which was kind of sweet. I know Kim will approach Che with ill intentions at first, but I'm pretty sure that their relationship will be sweet and wholesome because in the novel as well, Kim is very loving and protective towards Che. Also, people thinking that Kim is a bad guy, he's actually not. This is just his way of protecting the family. There is also this scene where Kin is examining Porsche's arm to see if his wound has healed. Kin informs Porsche that Kun has given Porsche back to him, but we all know this is a lie. Porsche asks Kin that if Kun hadn't returned him back, would Kin ever think of taking him back? Kin had a very cold and harsh response to that. This just shows how much heartbroken Kin is over his past relationship and how that has changed his personality and made him fear intimacy and affection. At the auction, Porsche is drugged by Vegas and taken into a room where Vegas tries to force himself on Porsche. In the novel, it was Big who schemed all this because he hated Porsche and wanted Vegas to take advantage of Porsche. But seeing that Porsche is drugged, Vegas refused to sleep with him. I'm not sure why the makers changed that narrative and made Vegas do that to Porsche. People who have read that novel can guide me on this because this is not what I remembered happening. Anyway, Kin and the bodyguards find Porsche in a delirious state. Porsche pukes all over himself and later that puke was eaten by Kin. So Kin takes Porsche to clean himself, but one thing leads to another and they both end up knocking boots. Was this the best sex scene I've ever seen in a BL? Yes. Do I watch this scene every day before going to bed? Yes, of course I do. This scene has kind of become like a dream catcher for me. It helps me get quality sleep and good dreams. There is not much more I can describe about this scene without getting flagged by YouTube again, so let's go to spoilers quickly. Before I share the spoilers, I just want to clarify that I'm only going by what happens in the novel and the actual episode might be completely different from the spoiler because they have already modified a lot of things from what I've seen so far. So please bear in mind before proceeding. Porsche wakes up the next day in pain and recollects the events of last night. He was stunned and shocked as he remembered what happened last night. Porsche sees Kin holding a cigarette in his mouth and wearing a white bathrobe. Porsche says, "That's my light," to which Kin replied, "I forgot to bring mine last night, so I borrowed a stick." As Porsche sees Kin smoke for the first time, his heart twitches and there is a strange feeling growing inside him. He quickly turns his gaze away. Kin then asks Porsche if he remembers anything. Porsche is confused. Is he asking if I remember what happened last night or who drugged him? Kin notices his confusion and says, "I mean, do you remember who it was?" Porsche replies no with a hoarse throat. Kin then asks Porsche to recount everything that happened last night before he got drugged. Porsche tells him everything in detail and also tells him that someone tried to touch him and that he was rough and intense, even more intense than Kin. Kin is shocked to hear this and Porsche could see the heartache on his face. Kin inquired if Porsche was okay and gently tried to touch his face. Porsche flinches and runs away to the bathroom. Kin then takes Porsche to the hospital because of obvious reasons. Porsche is upset and angry. He also feels guilt over what happened. He doesn't want to see Kin's face because every time he sees it, it reminds him of what occurred. Kin starts joking with Porsche as he's not used to seeing Porsche that quiet, and that made Porsche even angrier. He quickly got outside the car and runs to his room, takes his medicines and collapses on the bed. All he can think about right now is Kin, and that upsets him more and more. Porsche takes a few days rest and avoids Kin. Later on he meets Jom and Tem, who forces him to go out with them to a new bar. At the bar, a beautiful woman sends a drink to Porsche. Porsche sees it as an opportunity to forget about what happened with Kin. They go into the stalls, but little Porsche refuses to wake up, frustrating Porsche to no end. He really wanted to get Kin out of his head, but his body is not cooperating. They walk out the stall, and as soon as they step out, Kin is standing there waiting for him. Kin corners Porsche and offers to finish the unfinished business. Porsche refuses willfully, but his anatomy is saying otherwise. At this point, Porsche's feelings towards Kin are a mixture of hatred and attraction. When Porsche comes out of the washroom, he sees that Tanakun, Tae, Time and other bodyguards are all there having drinks with Jom and Tem. Just when everyone was chatting, Vegas enters the bar with his friends and starts chatting with Porsche. Porsche is just worn out at this point and wants to go home. Vegas offers to take him home, to which Porsche reluctantly agrees. Kin and Vegas fight over who will take Porsche home. Kin eventually forces Porsche to go with him instead of Vegas. Kin and Porsche fight and argue over his possessiveness, and Porsche decides that enough is enough and he wants to quit. He goes to Kunkon's office and tells him that he wants to quit. Porsche goes home after quitting. Kin gets to know about this and his anger rises. He goes to look for Porsche at his house and confronts him. Now this is the first time they both confront each other about what happened that night. As they are talking, suddenly masked men barge into the house and kidnap both Porsche and Kin. So these were the spoilers for episode 5. So far, KinnPorsche has been exceeding my expectations. I'm loving every single moment of this drama. Of course, sometimes it's triggering, but it's a lot mellow as compared to the novel. As always, if you liked this recap video, please don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more gossip, rankings and news videos like this. See you all in a few days. Bye!